Well, Australia is waking up to a major developing story in the cricketing world. Captain Steve Smith has admitted his team deliberately conspired to cheat on the third day of the third test in Cape Town. Cameron Bancroft has been charged with ball tampering. This is what Smith had to say after the team was caught by cameras and the umpires.
I'm not proud of what's happened. You know, it's not within the spirit of the game. My integrity, the team's integrity, the leadership group's integrity has come into question, and rightfully so. It's not on. It's certainly not on, and it won't happen again. I can promise you that under my leadership. No, I won't be considering stepping down. I still think I'm the right person for the job.
Well, that shot you saw there of Cameron Bancroft pulling that yellow tape out of his pocket, they used that to put on the ball to pick up debris and sort of age the ball and cause it to reverse swing. But Nines Neil Breen, yes, so there it is there. Nines Neil Breen joins us now to explain it a lot better than I can. So, Breeny, there's a lot of people who are going to be confused about what all this means, ball tampering. What does it mean? So why would they do this?
OK, I'll take you through the whole thing, right? So we have to have a little bit of a science lesson to start with. So the way you make a ball swing in cricket is the ball will swing away from the shiny side. So when you're watching cricket and they're feverishly polishing one side of the ball, that's so that you put that on the outside and the ball will swing that way. You change the side, it'll swing the other way, away from a right-hander. Now, reverse swing in cricket is a phenomenon that came out of the subcontinent on those dusty pitches when the older ball defies science and swings the other way. So rather than swinging away from the shiny side, it'll swing towards the shiny side, but it'll swing very, very late.
And confuse the batsman.
It completely confuses the batsman and they can't handle the delivery because it happens so late. Now, the key thing about last night was, yes, scuffing the ball and all those things can create greater swing with that ball. The Aussies last night were actually trying to destroy this ball so that the umpires had to get a replacement ball. Now, what happens in Test cricket, balls can hit the gutter, they can get damaged anyway, they six onto the roof, whatever. And there's a box of balls sitting out the back, and they'll go, oh, this ball's damaged, bring the box of balls out, and they try and match this ball they've been playing with a ball that's in the box. And for some reason, the balls in the box that have been sitting in a cupboard for a couple of months reverse swing greater. So while they were, well, like any damage to that ball can help them on the field, but they were trying to get that ball off. And Cameron Bancroft said it in his press conference. He said it didn't work anyway because the umpire didn't change the ball.
Is this cheating, though?
Oh, of course it's cheating. Of course it's cheating. I think I just want to show you something from the first test. We've got some vision here of Mitch Starc in the first test against South Africa. And in that test, Mitch Starc here violently swung the ball. He took 5 in the first innings and 4 in the second innings, and that was with a replacement ball. It happened in the first test with a replacement ball. So see that ball dip late? It just dipped on him and it's unplayable late in the day. See, watch this. Bang. And he just can't play the ball. So that's what the Aussies were trying to do last night. They were under pressure in this test match. They were trying to recreate that situation so Mitch Starc and Pat Cummins could produce deliveries like that, and that is what last night was all about.
So how huge is it to have the captain, Steve Smith, come out and say this was actually part of our game plan? It's
massive, and the ramifications for Australian cricket are enormous. Now, we're heading into day 4 of this test match. They have to let this test match play out. But I think Steve Smith's captaincy is finished. They can't sit there at a meeting at lunchtime and go, we're in trouble in this test, what are we going to do? Let's give Cameron Bancroft some tape so he can stick rocks to it, so he can destroy one side of the ball, so the umpire gets the box of balls out, so Mitch Starc can do what he did in the first test. It's cheating. And I think everyone who was at the management, like the senior management of the team, I think the senior leadership group, so obviously David Warner, some of the other players must have been there. And I think Darren Lehman, the coach, can't survive this because he's got no... They're saying that the management were involved. Well, he's got no control of the team. So James Sutherland, the Cricket Australia CEO, has a massive challenge ahead of him. There's a 4th test next week. Australia could be without 3 or 4 players.
The thing that struck me watching that Steve Smith press conference was it seemed to be saying, I'm sorry we got caught, rather than I'm sorry we did it. So my question is this the first time this has happened, or is it just the first time they've got caught?
Well, I think it'll be the first time they got caught, Jane. It's a fantastic question, and that's exactly what's going on here. Now, the Australians have got to be smarter than that because they know all this is on camera. But the divisions between the two teams run very, very deep because when South Africa was last year 18 months ago, remember in the test in Tasmania, Faf du Plessis, the South African captain, got caught with the cool mint in his mouth.
Yes.
And he was using saliva from the cool mint. He ended up only getting fined. Well, the South African team blamed Channel 9. They said it was the host broadcaster showed that, so we'd get caught, so we got charged. And remember, their security guard threw a Channel 9 reporter into the glass window at Adelaide Airport. All these ugly things went on. Then the Australian team, they lost that series. It caused widespread change to our team. The Australian team have arrived in South Africa, and the first thing the Australian team did before the first test was ask the host broadcaster in South Africa to turn the stump mics down between balls and between overs because they wanted to let rip with this sledging tactics. So then the sledging, they didn't do that, the broadcasters. So the Aussies kept saying, how good's Qantas because South Africa is sponsored by Emirates Airline. It's just been juvenile since the start. Then the whole Warner thing blew up and then Warner got abused by a guy in the crowd. This is really for the authorities to say we can't have it happen anymore. And the widespread backlash against the Australian cricket team this morning is off the charts.
It was actually quite compelling, some of the vision that we've all seen this morning too. I mean, Bancroft actually tried to cover it up first, didn't he? Because the umpires asked to see what it was in his pockets, and he's pulled out the cases for his glasses. It was a black case, first of all, and then they asked him, no, not that one, the yellow tape, and that's when the gig was up. He was caught. And as you mentioned there, it's a great point. There's 150 cameras on that field. You know what I mean?
Was he doing? So he was putting the tape in his hand. He was saying debris, so obviously little rocks, and then scratched the ball. Oh, umpire. Oh, OK, get the box of balls out. Mitch Stark, which one do you like?
So what happens to Bancroft here? I mean, he's been charged.
Bancroft will be banned. He'll be banned for several tests.
But what about, I mean, you know, everyone was involved in this, the entire leadership team. What about Steve Smith?
So Bancroft's the only person who's been charged so far. The match referee now, at the end of this test, might go back and charge several others. The match referee will have to interview them all and say who was there colluding on it. I think Cricket Australia will get involved. So there's a role for the ICC to play via the match referee, who's already charged Bancroft and will probably charge Smith now. Then it'll be up to Cricket Australia to say who else was involved, what was going on here. And I think the next 7 days in Australian cricket are going to be like something we haven't seen in many, many years.
And what an example to, like, the mums and dads who are taking their children out today to play cricket and they're watching this on the television this morning. What kind of example are they setting?
It's the most poor example, and it's very upsetting that Steve Smith's got himself involved in this, you know, like he's one of the greatest batsmen we've ever seen in this country, probably the best batsman we've produced since Don Bradman. They're under pressure in a test series which is tensely forward at 1-1. Why are you resorting to this? Why are you doing that? Like at a lunchtime saying, OK, we're in trouble here, let's cheat.
But could that save Steve Smith, the fact that he is the best batsman in the world, and also
it mightn't,
who else could be captain?
It might. Well, that's another good question because the alternative captain's David Warner, and you're hardly going to throw him the captaincy after what went on during this series. But
it sounds like he was potentially involved in this anyway.
Well, because they were talking about the senior leadership of the team. Well, he's the vice captain. If he was left out in the cold on that, he would probably be dirty about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the question. Who are the alternatives? Well, they can always find an alternative captain. You know, you could give it to Tim Payne or somebody like that. But I think the prospect of Steve Smith playing in the 4th test next week, Bancroft won't be playing. There could be several of them out.
Significant ramification. What a story. It's an incredible story that we're waking up to this morning. Australia charged with ball tampering, but in effect that's cheating. Brilliant.
Thanks for explaining it.
No worries.
Explaining all that insight for us.
If
you spelled it right out for us, thank you very much. And now, as you mentioned there, that Cricket Australia will be having an urgent board meeting later on today to figure out where to go from here. But as Brini was saying, there's nothing good that's coming out of that.